gonna keep that on all night?
Me, just because I'm in hot moderate, that one will be passed around.
Okay, just making sure.
No, you're good.
I'm gonna go upstairs and do a test. So if you could just talk.
Talk at normal.
Yeah, and then I'll
converse. Okay, sounds good. Hi, Emily. I'm being recorded.
Hi, you are being recorded.
That was a great shot. I don't know you guys. The golden glow, they called it, right?
Golden hour.
Just that hits the skin perfectly, and it's like, We asked someone to do it, right?
It was a really tall gentleman. His name I forgot.
I see.
I don't know if he was Russian. I don't
Not
know
Russian?
what,
No.
but like he was a tall gentleman.
No, and he was praying in the chapel.
Yeah.
They were praying it up in there, right?
Yeah.
It was like I don't even know what language they were. It was a rosary. I know that. It was repetitive. All right.
Go ahead and grab dessert. We're going to get started in like 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh
I was
yeah.
expecting someone to say thank you. So go ahead and grab a dessert or another plate or another drink. We're going to get started real soon. Okay. And the bathrooms are right there by the stairs.
Very good. Thank you, Kristen. That's right. Very good. Testing 1, 2, 3.
She's going to just do I need to go?
Oh wow.
I'll watch over you.
It's a great shot.
You should sit on the couch. There's only 2 of you.
You moan? Yeah.
Come on.
Like, oh no, what?
Come on, Jacob. Take a seat. Take a seat, Jacob.
Thank you, Krista.
All right, Jacob.
Are we started on the live stream? I'm not there.
Oh, it's a great show.
So does that mean I can't talk?
I'm gonna hold this and talk to it and talk into it.
Wearing the shirt.
Hello.
No, you're good.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Oh, she couldn't make it, huh?
Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Salve. Mi chiamo
Where's
Ingrid.
Angelica in there? Maybe she took the shot.
This could be your contact.
No, I
Oh.
want like a house.
Nice.
Wait, how are you not in that one?
I was meeting with my cousin. She's like, hi, brother, I left.
Casually saying,
No, I don't.
good job on the questions, by the way. I couldn't. I was leaving on a flight. I was like, no, I can't do this. I'm sorry.
Oh, so you were not there at that time that we were at the bar.
But the 3 themes we stuck with it the entire time. The same 3
Hello,
points,
hello.
and that's all that was needed.
Yes. So Jesus is going to keep that one. We're going to
It was
pass this
done
around,
well.
okay?
Everything is working.
Everything,
I
it's
just checked
on.
it.
I think sometimes we get caught up with I want to do so much,
Thank you, friend.
and I feel like God's like, no, take what you have and enjoy it. You know?
Okay.
I don't know. That's the feeling I get.
The desserts over here so people can reach them.
Right.
10.
Yeah.
I feel like it's river. What is it called? River 10?
We did.
What is that river called? Oh, see, that's what I said.
The River Tiber. The Tiber River.
Move the desserts over
Il
here.
Tibet.
I think I have ice cream. Okay.
Very good.
It's okay. I think, no, it's going to melt. Okay. You just, whenever it's your turn. Yeah. Okay. Hi. Welcome.
Hello, Kristen.
Thanks for coming to the Newman Night. I'm holding this mic for the live stream. So if you know someone who wants to be here, we're on YouTube and on Instagram. I think Facebook, actually, sorry. So this is the Newman Center. Is it anybody's first time here? I think I saw a couple new faces. Yes, welcome. So this Newman Center historically has served PCC and Caltech and Fuller. Those are 3 campuses right here in Pasadena, but we happen to serve a lot of young adults too because Caltech is a grad school mostly. So this is a student ministry, but also a young adult ministry. Today's talk is called Testimonies from Rome, from the Jubilee of Hope. So this year happens to be a Jubilee of Hope. It's a 1 in 25-year experience. Obviously, Pope Francis called us to it, invited us to it, but we got to see Pope Leo there, and I'm sure some of the pilgrims are going to talk more detail about that. Historically, we've only done Jubilees every 100 years or maybe 50 years or something, but we have like a special occasion, I guess, this year, and we do that sometimes too, because in 2015 we had a Jubilee. The Jubilee doors open. It's like a great celebration. We went to 3 of the 4 papal basilicas that are Jubilee doors, which we'll talk about what Jubilee is, what doors are, the hope part, the pilgrim part. We're going to talk about all those things. I'm going to let Jesus kind of what is it called?
Moderate.
I was going to say monitor. Moderate. Moderate the panel here. And we have a lot of pilgrims. So raise your hand if you're a pilgrim. We have a lot of them here. We had 18 on our trip. 9 of the people, keep your hands raised if you're one of the 9 who helped coordinate it. So there were some people who were like helping plan it for like 9 months in advance and praying for our people. So yeah, round of applause for our planners, our Jubilee pilgrimage leadership team, basically. So without further ado, I'm going to give it off to Jesus, who's going to moderate for us.
Thank you so much, Krista. Honestly, all of this was a great big group effort, and I think our older sister to thank. So I appreciate Krista a lot. So we started preparing for this. A while ago, even before the Jubilee year started. It started in December of last year, but we had this whole journey of preparation. So I'm going to invite Jacob and Anna Karina to share a little bit what this preparation looked like. You know, what did it look like, guys? I don't know. Anyone want to share? Yeah, just ladies first. I'm going to give that to her then.
And I'm a gentleman.
I mean, as a group, we did a lot of meetings to prepare ourselves. Like inside and out, we went to different places, and we had a lot of different themes that we read and things to keep in mind, which was nice also because we got to grow as a group and closer for when we went on the trip. Do you have anything to say?
I can share for myself. So for myself, before going to Rome, I had actually been doing some previous traveling before. In June, I had went to Southeast Asia and visited 4 countries, Japan, the Philippines, Indonesia, and Vietnam, and to see the beauty of the church, especially in the Year of Hope. To see a part of Catholicism that is a little more foreign to us, you know, and our brothers and sisters out in the Southeast Asia side. It was very beautiful to see their faith. And then when I was traveling into Europe, I didn't meet the pilgrims in Rome. I actually went to Paris first, or to France, and then to Belgium, and then to the Netherlands. And from the Netherlands, I flew in to Rome and met everyone here. And so I had a lot more preparation because I had started my pilgrimage a lot earlier. I had a lot more time to think and a lot more time to pray, especially I was doing it solo. But it was beautiful to rejoice in everything that I had experienced before that, and with everyone here, and to share in the goodness of God, especially in Rome, and not just do it by myself like I had been doing in the other countries. So the preparation before, I know everyone here has a little bit different because they had flown in straight from LA to Rome. I had a little bit different going pilgrimage before meeting them. So that was kind of the preparation on my end. Sure.
Thanks. Mm-hmm. I like how you point out that there's this dual aspect, right? There's the personal aspect, right? You did a whole pre-pilgrimage before we even entered, but also the community aspect. And I think it's important to do that. Was there anything you guys were hoping for as this went on? Because I know personally I had a lot of things I was expecting out of the journey, out of the pilgrimage, but I don't know if you guys wanted to share that a little bit. I got you.
I had no expectations. I've never been to Europe. I didn't know anything. So I genuinely had nothing. Plus, I've never been to a Jubilee event either.
Was this your first pilgrimage?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Wow.
Yeah, so I had no expectations. I was like, well, we'll see. But I was hoping to meet a lot of people. I really wanted to meet people from all around the world, which we kind of did. And not like super duper, but like we got to meet really cool people. I have them on Instagram, so that's really cool. But I also got the chance to meet like everyone here more like closer, which I never thought I created new friendships that I didn't even know were gonna grow. So that was something that came out of not even knowing that it was gonna happen. but yeah, I was hoping to obviously grow closer and kind of see, like, have a better look, more physical look, I guess, to how much the church is like around us, and so many people were there with the same kind of wish and spirit, and like it was just so cool to be surrounded by minds that think alike, and we all believe in God. So that was really exciting. Yeah.
Well, repeat the question.
Well,
You captivated
any
me so
hopes,
much.
experiences, anything you were expecting?
Oh, yeah. Before we had left, Krista had told me that there may have been an opportunity for me to altar serve at St. Peter's Basilica. And I had took all my cassock, my surplus, my vestments, hoping that it would be great to go and to altar serve at St. Peter's. So I go, probably pictures right there. I was ready, and then Krista said, just go to the sacristy. It wasn't even confirmed yet. So I went to the sacristy and I asked, and they said, yes, you could altar serve. And it was really emotional for myself, especially like going from the sacristy to one of the most beautiful altars in St. Peter's Basilica, and to have just so many people watching, so many people be there, and as well to share that with everyone else as well, and to serve in the
Woo, yeah.
I honestly didn't do anything during that mass. I didn't grab a book. Nothing. I was just a poster boy like this. Yeah, or there's another one, Krista. I'm just like this. Not Jeff.
All right.
There's one where I'm just like this, really pious, and I did nothing, but that's what just God wanted me to do. He just wanted me to be there in that moment, and it was very, very beautiful, very touching, very powerful experience for myself. So that was a beautiful prayer. I think it was Abby, wherever Abby is. You had asked me, wow, was that on your bucket list? I said, I didn't even know that could be on my bucket list. And that's how God works, right? He gives us something even greater than what we can possibly imagine, right? I didn't even ask for it, right? But when Abby had said that, was that on your bucket list? I didn't even know that was possible. And God makes things possible, right? When we have a prayerful life and we listen to Him and follow Him. So yeah, that was a deeply powerful moment, especially for myself, one of them. So
Thank you. I think God really blows us out of the water. We come in with like these small, well, sometimes not even expectations, but even little expectations. And from there, He just, I don't know you guys' experiencing entering St. Peter's, you're just blown away. And that gets me every time. I've been there already almost, I'd be going there on a monthly basis almost, and you still get blown away. So there are these big moments, and there's also stuff that you carry kind of individually, little personal questions you struggle with. I know when we were coming into the Basilica, you do get overwhelmed, and a lot of times in life we get overwhelmed by our responsibilities, just even questions of discernment. What does God have in store for me? So I know each one of us had that. Feel free to share or not share any of those personal struggles, but I know I, for one, I was excited by what God had come, but I was getting a little nervous, and I think God was telling me, let's slow down. And this helped me really slow down. So appreciate you guys a lot. So as Krista was mentioning, the Jubilee is a special time of grace, right? This only happens, as she was mentioning, a couple years down the line. Historically, the Jews would celebrate the year of Jubilee, and it'd be a year of releasing prisoners, a year of letting the soil relax, right? So I want to pass on the next couple questions to a couple of these other pilgrims here, if you guys want to swap. Daniel, Abby, and Araceli. Thank you. So I was wondering if you guys had that same experience of being able to, I guess, experience something lifting. I had mentioned we have our anxieties, we have our fears. If you guys experience any, I guess, alleviating any of that, or maybe not, I don't know. I know Daniel was in charge of helping us through. He was our logistics man, and it was a lot. Guiding 18 of us through the other 100,000 pilgrims was quite the challenge, and I really appreciated him. But what do you guys, would you like to answer?
You want to go first?
Okay, everyone's looking at me.
Yeah, I'm looking at you.
All right. So that is factually true. I was the logistician for the whole trip. And there's a lot that you can do to prepare before everything happens, of course. But once you're actually there on the land of pilgrimage, there's quite a lot more that you just can't control. Things that are really out of your hands. And I learned that I have to be okay with that. We had a fairly ambitious itinerary going in. We had figured out all our money and our budget situation and everything, how we're going to get from one place to the other. But the first day that we were there, I realized, a lot of this is going to have to change. A lot of it is going to deviate from our initial plans, and that is okay. 10 years ago, I would not have been okay with that. But the Lord has been chiseling at me for the past 10 years, and I think I got to a point where I said, Lord, this is okay. I'll let go of these plans. I'll trust that you will keep each and every one of us safe, and that we will be all, bodily and spiritually safe. Thankfully, I think that was the case. One particular thing that really stood out to me, though, was a special grace, was actually when we visited Santa Maria Maggiore, St. Mary Major, where Holy Father Francis is buried. We got there at about 8:30 in the morning, and we stood in line for about half an hour under the shade cast by the church, which made it more or less a pleasant wait, I would say. And when we came out, it was about 11 in the morning, so the sun was much higher in the sky, blazing hot. And I saw a line that was about 5 times longer than when we first came. And then people were standing not in the shade, but in the sun. And that just made me realize, wow, there's nothing that we necessarily have done as a group to deserve that special favor that God gave us, meteorologically speaking. And yet he did. There are, 800,000 other pilgrims from all over the world who are there with the same intentions, the same hopes, and yet the Lord gave us this very special grace that morning. Not because of anything that we deserve, but just out of his sheer generosity and compassion for us. So there were a number of those kinds of small moments that, from a logistical point of view, really made me realize, okay, Lord, I know you've got this. I know that you've got all of this in your hand, actually. And I'll do my part to the best of my ability, but I know that at the end of the day, I need to let it rest in your hands. Because what's that verse from the Psalms? The watchman may watch all night, but his watch is in vain if the Lord does not watch over the city. The builder may try to build a house, but that's all in vain if the Lord doesn't build the house. So I really felt that on this pilgrimage.
Beautiful.
Oh, you're gonna. Okay, I'm gonna try to answer some of the questions because I like questions. So you asked what we kind of came in having feelings or expectations or wanting to, just what were we coming in with, right? And I think for me, I was coming with no expectations. This was my first pilgrimage as well, and my first time in Europe. And so I really kind of put my trust in you guys, and and I was very, very pleasantly surprised at how well everything turned out. So thank you guys, everyone who was part of the planning. But I also came a little bit wary, or not wary, but overwhelmed just from knowing that I was going to be away from my house or from my sister and work. So I was a little nervous about just leaving for that long of a week, and it wasn't that long, but I still felt a little bit worried. And so I think when I came, I didn't fully come. I wasn't fully present at the beginning, and then it wasn't until I went to Assisi, I think, that I truly felt that I just could be fully present and intentional with, what I was doing and just to be released from any worries that I had. And I think that was just a pure moment of joy and gratitude just to have that feeling. Because I felt God in the way that in just the walk in through nature, the trek up the hill that was very arduous and difficult, but I loved that, like feeling exhausted after was, both bittersweet because you felt exhausted, but it was a good type of exhaustion for me. And so I wanted to carry that forward. I know someone mentioned that Jesus would often go up to the mountain to pray and to get, and then that would be his time to, re-energize and, spend time with God. And so I felt like that was my moment to go with God and just be present with him. And, we had to come back down to the mountain. I had to come back home. But I still felt like I could see why Carlo loved Assisi so much. And I think, I've been getting signs from just, I just wanted to share real quick. Yesterday, I was able to go with my godmother in Texas, who just renewed her 25 years of being a nun for the Franciscans. So it was just, I see signs of God working, through other people. And just, I think that's given me hope in terms of wanting to look into the saints a little bit more and to study, St. Francis, study more about Carlo. And so I think, that was just I got a lot out of this pilgrimage, but in terms of this Jubilee of Hope, it really instilled a hope in me that I felt a lot of renewal from this pilgrimage because of how I didn't get all the answers I wanted from that I would like from God, but I still got a feeling of hope that I'm going to carry forward for a while. So, sorry, that was long.
Thanks.
So I kind of want to transition a little bit to this kind of the second and third questions. What was one moment of pure joy or gratitude you now want to carry forward? To that, I want to say it was bringing my sister and getting to fly overseas. It was my first trip overseas, ever. And it was just not something, I was not a plane person. I want to say 2 years ago, it's my greatest fear going on a plane. There's people here that went with me to NEC and I was just so scared. I was clutching to the plane seat. But this time around it was a little easier and I just felt it was a grace. It was a grace from God. And thanks to the people that I've met here at Newman, I feel like I've been able to overcome certain fears and people that God has put into my life to kind of push me out of my comfort zone a little bit. The third question, how did you see God's abundance in people, places, or unexpected provisions? I have a little bit of an embarrassing story to share. I purchased a pair of pants. Ingrid, I think you know where I'm going with this. Anna Karina. I was rooming with Anna Karina. My sister's not here, so she'll probably tell you the story if I didn't. But I put the new pair of pants on, and it was the only pair of pants I had left at that point because I was trying to pack light. I only took a backpack, and literally the pants ripped down my my leg. So I ran from my room down to Ingrid's room because I heard that you two can sew, and I was like, girls, we can pin this up, right? Do you have bobby pins or something? And they're like, no, that's it. Yeah, it was really bad. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So when it says unexpected provisions, I just felt so blessed to get to go on this trip with people. I got to know each of you much more deeply, and some of you just made me laugh about it. I think I would have been crying about it otherwise. But Ingrid even washed my pants, and then Emily, you lent me your pants, and that was really, it was special. It's a special moment for me. But it just made me feel, and maybe this is a little bit of a transition into pilgrim, but it made me feel, God was providing for us even you could plan it like down to the detail, but there's always going to be something, like something unexpected happens. And it's the people that we go with that really, they're the ones that help us through along the way. So through the grace of God.
Thank you. Thank you three for sharing. We appreciate it. So yeah, we'll go ahead and transition now. As any pilgrimage requires a bit of sacrifice, right? And it's a transition from walking from one place to another. And I think pilgrimage, you think of these great trips to these big places, but pilgrimages can happen in very small ways. I think the trip to Emmaus is something really small. But they had that before and after. They had that journey. And so at this point, I want to invite David and Emily, together with Ingrid, to give us a bit of their input on what it means to be a pilgrim and how that differs from, say a tourist, right? It's summer, there's plenty of tourists up and about, but what makes us different, right? And, as pilgrims have it, there's a bit of a walk involved, a lot of walking. And I just want to feel your take on being a pilgrim there in Rome.
I think for myself, definitely, I only felt like a tourist sometimes when I was like, oh, like, like for everything I'd be like, oh wait, I want to go touch the walls, or I really didn't come here. But no, in all seriousness though, like I think I definitely felt like a pilgrim the whole time, because I felt really focused from the beginning of knowing what I wanted to offer my pilgrimage for. And I think that really like helped me, like even in the moments that were kind of more spiritually difficult for me internally, I think that I kept thinking about who I wanted to offer this for, which is for my mom, for her health. And I think that really helped me like just really lock in and make sure that like even if I was frustrated or I was tired or I didn't want to walk up the hill anymore, that I was like, okay, no, this is all for you, Lord, like as my sacrifice to, and like a very beautiful sacrifice, because I got to experience such beauty. And I think that's something that really I've been thinking about a lot since we came back, beauty, and how God's beauty is something that we can't even comprehend as a human. Like it's so much different from what society tells us beauty is, and it just really like put me into a pilgrim mindset, that to appreciate the beauty of creation, how God made such beautiful things like in Assisi, and being able to see like the nature and the churches, and just like being able to see like all the little things and the grand things like the churches, but how God is so beautiful and present in that. I think that I felt like I was walking with him by being with this group, that he was like walking next to me, like hand in hand. And it was really a blessing to be able to be a pilgrim again. I know we're like a pilgrim in this life, right? Because we want to go to heaven, and that's our final destination, our final pilgrimage. But at least for now, this is my third pilgrimage. But each time I think it's something very special and different, that you're in a different season of your life. And for me right now, this is something that has really helped me reflect on how I need to there's a lot of things that I thought I was good with, and I'm like, no, God, I still need to wrestle this out with you and work on this. So yeah, so I'm gonna let someone else talk now. Sorry.
Thank you, Emily. So this was my first pilgrimage. I was invited by my brother, and I guess the first time I felt like more like a pilgrim rather than a tourist was probably actually right away, because we were doing a lot of walking at that airport. Not gonna lie, like check into this terminal, only to go through security through another terminal, only to go to the gate at another terminal. Okay, anyway, thank you, Norse Atlantic Airlines. Shout out to y'all. No, but in all seriousness, so in all seriousness, no, it was probably I would say, the first opening mass. We didn't even know the Pope was going to be there, but Krista warned us. She prepped us ahead of time. She was like, listen, there's going to be a lot of people. You need to mentally lock in and know what that means in this humidity. And so, but we got our spot. We saw people going forward. We were like, okay, there's more space. So then we got our spot. We were able to, get settled in before our mass started, and it really solidified what it meant to be Catholic in terms of the word Catholicism, which means universal. And hearing and experiencing mass with people from all over the world was I knew it in my mind, but to experience it, it helped me know it from not just here but also in here. Yeah. And right when we were walking over towards communion, God gave us a blessing, Pope Leo the Fourth, Papa Leon, had a surprise, and we were able to see him, and it was awesome and so exciting. But it wasn't apart from the exciting moments, there was also discomfort, and I offered this pilgrimage to my family, especially to the soul of my tío, Chonin, who passed away this March, and it was nice to be able to offer. I go through the holy doors and offer prayer for his soul, and the walking. It also gave me time to pray. Honestly, praying the rosary helped the time go faster when we were walking towards the Tor Vergata, which was the vigil on our last day, or sorry, second to last day, and then last day, and I just thought I can offer this little discomfort to God, this was nothing to what Jesus sacrificed for us. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna pass it on to Ingrid.
Salve tutti, mi chiamo Ingrid. Sono di California. Trying to show off the little Italian that I was able to use. Salve.
There we go.
That was intentional, okay? I would have liked for us to have taken a picture of me struggling up that hill for comic relief. It was a treacherous hill, okay? At first, when we got there, you guys, I was like, wait, aren't we gonna take a taxi or a cab or the bus straight to our Airbnb? No, we were gonna walk up a hill to then go down another hill, get settled, and then walk up that hill again. And I was, okay, so the question here is...
Don't get her started.
How did the act of walking or traveling shape your inner journey, okay? It had me questioning my life's decisions, okay? I was hoping not to pass out. So, the year of hoping.
Nice.
So there I was having this internal struggle, this internal fight with myself. It was hot. It was humid. I was not having it. But there I was. I thought, you know what? I don't want to be a burden on my friends here. So I am just going to smile and bear it. And so for many of you who saw me dragging up that hill, going up there, thanks to Krista and Christopher. I need to finish the rosary with you, actually, because Christopher started to walk next to me and started to recite the rosary with me to make the walk uphill easier. I even started to walk up the hill backwards, which provided a little bit of relief. Krista kept giving me water from her little bottle. I was like, I'm not having it, but I did not want to be a Debbie Downer. So you guys had no idea. I was struggling, okay? I was struggling internally, but I decided, no, put on a smile and just go with it. Just go with it. There I was in between breaths, just, trying to look happy and be like, hey, I'm good. And then the next day we went up that hill the first time, only to find that we were not going to receive Mass at the church of the picture where we were all standing at in the beginning. Right there you are. So we weren't able to receive Mass, and then but they said, oh, okay, but tomorrow we'll be up and ready to go to Mass. The next day we'll have to go up that hill. I was like, I am not going up that hill. I quit. I am done. I am not doing this anymore. And so I had started to tell a few people, no, I'm not going. Forget that. I'm not going. So the next morning, I woke up. Kimberly was getting ready with me, one of the Louisiana girls. She didn't want to go either, but she said, oh, but it's a CC. And I thought, no, I'm not going. But after I said I'm not going, I got up and I started to get ready so I could go. So there I was once again up that treacherous hill that I had just climbed less than 10 hours before. And we finally get to and if anything, I think we went up a little higher up into a CC. And I was like, no, you've got to be kidding me, right? All right, cool. And so there I was. Thank you for everyone who was there, patient with me. You guys have all been wonderful. And so what happened was that we finally get to the little church. What was the name of that church, Daniel? The one,
There's a monastery.
Okay. Humbling experience, because as soon as we start receiving Mass, I realized that everything that I was fussing about and having that internal struggle with, this was not about me. And I'm here in the presence of the Lord, and this is so rewarding, and this was so worth it. That walk. And then I even began to get emotional. I began to cry. Christopher and Jacob were sitting right next to me. I don't think they saw me cry. I was trying not to, make a fool of myself. But there I was, and then I decided I am offering up this struggle for my friends, for my loved ones, for the people who need the help. And so that's what I decided to do. How did you see? I'm sorry, no, that's the previous question. Was there a place where you felt this is holy ground, and what made it so? For me, it was when we got to go to Escala Santa, and we got to pray. on our knees, going up all those 28 steps. And just the fact that we were there, and it was just so humbling, and that Jesus had walked up those stairs to, ultimately meet his fate. It was, I'm going to try not to get emotional here. It was very humbling, and I'm going to carry that experience in my heart for the rest of my life. I just couldn't believe I was there. And I got to pray for my little sister. I got to pray for my family, my mom, especially my mom, because my mom, she has decided to go her separate ways from the church, and I'm just really hoping for her reversion and my family's conversion. And I got to do confession at Scala Santa, which was like the best experience ever. So yeah, that's my experience. But here, let me not hog the microphone and pass it on to someone else.
No, thank you all for sharing. I mean, that's
truly being a pilgrim is experiencing that hardship and you bringing it into the holy steps, right? God's asking us, and he asks us to carry that cross as well with him. And I don't know, sometimes we see the sufferings, we see the cross, and we only see Good Friday. But the Lord asks us, let's go on to Holy Saturday. Let's have a bit of hope. And I want to transition now to this next point of hope. Very interesting that Pope Francis chose that as the theme for the Jubilee. And within a couple months, right, he passes away and he leaves this empty seat, right? So as a church, we experience that kind of pregnant hope, expectation. But we know that God delivers. And he sends us Pope Leo, which is very beautiful. So I'm going to ask my brother to sit down and ask Christopher to come on up. There were many signs of hope while we were there. Some personal, in ourselves and others. There were also moments where God asked us to trust a bit in his own promises. And he may have given us a word or an image. So I just want to ask, well, maybe Christopher specifically, did you see any signs of hope during this entire time? And if you want to share with us, we'd appreciate it.
Sure. There were a few. If I had to pick one image of hope, it was being able to see people from all different parts of the world just coming together, and specifically young people coming together, walking under different banners of different countries, many of whom were singing songs in their own native tongue, and just being able to celebrate and worship the Lord. To see something like that was a great witness, a great moment of saying like, no, this is the universal church. This is what it means to be Catholic, literally universal. And it gave me hope personally to know that there are others out there who are on fire for their faith, and specifically young people. So often we see, a pocket of young people here or there, but to see so many young people all at the same time on fire singing for the Lord was just something that I will treasure for many years to come.
Thank you, Christopher. Yeah. Emma, you want to answer?
Yes. So I think I saw so many signs of hope. I think it was just a privilege and a blessing that, I think about like the people I grew up with, like the devout señoras and señores, where they're so humble, and I'm like, wow, I'm such privilege that we get to even go here and see the roots and see like the history. Like if a piece of the history is stuck in time for us to experience, and I think about like, oh, they won't get to see this, but they get to experience that example of faith and inspire like the younger people. And I think the sign of hope I saw here was I thought a lot about something Pope Francis said, where he said, listen to your elders and the value of our elders, especially because I had the honor of being able to go to World Youth Day when Pope Francis had just become Pope recently, and seeing him so young and like full of energy, and then seeing him the last World Youth Day and how he looked tired, but he was still so joyfully present for us. And then coming here and seeing like Pope Leo and this new stage of where we are, and how God kind of works in that. Different seasons give us different messages of hope, and I think I really felt really inspired just to see the different things we can learn from each pope, and from every experience being gathered with so many young people, like Christopher was saying, from all over the world. Like, it was just so encouraging to see them so joyful, like living out that joy that God calls us to, like the joy of the gospel, and being that example out in the streets for people to see that we love God and that our church is alive and it's on fire and it's going strong right now. And it really gave me a lot of hope in the young people, like in our own ministry, like in our own young adult communities, and just like I see them with that fire too, and it just gives me a lot of encouragement. I know we see a lot of negative things, and it's so easy to like spiral and focus on those things, but I don't know, just like taking that step back and appreciating that joy, I just feel really hopeful that things are gonna change, and things are already changing, and our church and our young people are on fire right now for that, and it's just so beautiful. I think if I could offer one image or word to you guys, it would be awe, because I think awe is just something that sometimes we forget to feel and kind of bask in. Like children, they're in awe of like a lot of things, and I think that it's really beautiful to take that time and just be like in awe of everything God is working in, and just how beautiful it is to embrace that childlike wonder and awe, and that yearning for more. So yeah, I think that's my signs of hope I saw.
Thank you.
I had something prepared for the second question, which was, did you encounter a moment that renewed your trust in God's promise? But I think I already said it in the first section of the Pilgrim. The fact that I was at Scala Santa, encountering that moment in prayer made me feel like everything was going to be okay, and with like everything that was going on in my mind and in my heart at that moment, and still to this day, because we all carry, we all encounter a difficulty in our life, but I would like to share a beautiful image that really resonates with me. Krista, you remember that picture you wanted me to take?
Oh yeah.
Something I want to share with you guys. Our Lord, right there. Giving his life for us, being the unblemished lamb who was willing to sacrifice himself for the salvation of our sins, and that's just very special. I tried to capture the light and the warmth that fell over the the statue at that moment, and that's just an image that really, really speaks to me, and it's very special.
Thank you.
I think the entirety of this pilgrimage was a journey with God, a hopeful journey. You can tell just like as soon as we got there, we hit the ground running, and there was this enthusiasm. You could see it. You can see it everywhere, but particularly in each one of your faces. Besides the jet lag, I mean. And as we went along, it got a little heavy. We had a day or two break in Assisi, which was a beautiful moment just to relax and be in God's presence, take a moment, and then delve right back in. Toward the last days, we did stay overnight at Tor Vergata. This huge spans of thousands of young people waiting that night in order to see Pope Leo. 1 million. And I think they only prepared for 500,000. So we're able to experience all of that. And as we were going back, I don't know you guys, but it kind of felt unreal coming back. But we wanted to bring that. We wanted to bring back something. Want to bring back something different in ourselves. Something a lot with beautiful pilgrimages like this. You come back to a world that's the same, but you've changed, right? So we're coming back, and I'm not sure how many of you have experienced being on a pilgrimage, but if we were to say something to those who haven't been on pilgrimage before, and yeah, go ahead and swap. Someone who hasn't been on pilgrimage, if you'd like to say something to them or invite them to experience something you've experienced, or just really something that stayed with you, want to share. Mickey. Seeing that we've all spoken too much and you haven't spoken yet.
So, well, I've gone on a few pilgrimages, and I feel like they're always very different. Like, I've done Camino de Santiago, which is more of like a very, you're on your own, basically walking. Like, I did like talk to people along the way, but a lot of it was like your own prayerful journey on your own. And then I did World Youth Day back when I was in high school in 2011, and I think that obviously a lot of times passed between then and now, and I'm a very different person, because then it was more of it was just this excitement of being around so many young people who also like, it was really exciting to like so many people on fire for their faith. And I think that it's the same experience this time around, where it just really, it's like that buzz of the crowd where you're like, wow, like this is such a cool thing to be a part of. And like, I don't know, it is the energy, but coming, several years later, as an adult, it's even, I think it was the combination between the Camino de Santiago experience of like this spiritual internal and also like the communal, like universal church emotion. So it was kind of the combination of both for me. Especially, I felt that our walk to Tor Vergata did kind of remind me of the Camino and those, and that energy of just keeping one foot in front of the other. So I'll say for anyone who hasn't gone on a pilgrimage, it is just an interesting, it's so important. Just take time out of your everyday to focus on like your relationship with God, and also like your place in like the Catholic community as a whole, and like just to recognize that we are so fortunate to be a part of such a universal church, that like our church touches so many different people around the world, and we all have so much in common because of our shared values and our shared relationships, or like our relationships with God. And like it's just so amazing to have that connection. Like you don't even have to speak the same language as these people, and like you're feeling the exact same, like the same energy when like the Pope comes in. It's just like so cool to be a part of that. But yeah, and it's also, I think that we got very lucky with our group. because like there were moments where we kept saying like, oh my gosh, we're so lucky, like we got there right on time, like we started moving towards the right place, and we saw Leo at like the right moment, like we were getting very lucky. But it was also the mentality where we kept seeing the blessing in everything, and we were like, wow, God is really like on our side, like like even what Daniel was saying earlier about like we just got so lucky with like how our wait wasn't long as the other people, you know. It's like we really were the type of people who like saw the glass half full, and that is just so important when you're on even any trip with people. Like it was just important to have positive people around you who really were taking this experience and like finding the joy in it. Even on our first day, when we got we ended up I guess in Rome they have like storms randomly in the middle of a summer day where it's like completely sunny and then there's a storm. So we had lunch. My parents happened to be in Rome around the same time, so I met up with my parents, with Anna, Karina, and Angelica, and my mom was like, oh, like, do you want my umbrella? And I was like, Mom, it's like summer. What are you saying? But I was like, she's like, no, just take the umbrella. I was like, okay, sure, I'll take it. So I take this umbrella, and then not 10 minutes after lunch, we walk outside, and it's starting to rain. But we're going to Anna Karenina's hotel, and it's like 10-minute walk. And she's like, 5 minutes. It's supposed to be a 5-minute walk. And we walk outside, and like it's starting to rain. We're like, no, this is fine. I was like, oh, I got my mom's umbrella, like we're good. Not like 5 seconds later, it's like a torrential downpour, and everyone is like off the streets, and we're just these idiot Americans. Like my umbrella goes like inside out. I'm like, but we're all cracking up the whole time. I think we like learned pretty quickly that we're the type of people that will laugh in these situations, and we'll see like the joy in it and the humor. And that's just so important for that mindset of these, because like that was like there's so many different things that came our way, the hills, the everything. And I think that because we had such a joyful spirit, we were like able to sing in our hard times. We were able to really like find the positives, and like we were also very good at knowing when to take breaks and like make sure that everyone was accounted for. And I think that was just so important for this pilgrimage and for just the community building. And I think that we really we kept saying like no man left behind, and I think that really was like we wanted everyone to have the best experience. And so yeah, it was a very well put together pilgrimage. Honestly, like props again to the people who coordinated it, because I think that everyone really did get a great experience because it was so well thought out. And like it was good that we had such a smaller group comparatively, because I was talking to people from Paris who had like 270 people in their group, and I just don't even know how that works. Like we had 18, and I think that it was like a solid number, even though it was like kind of big, but like I felt like it was a solid number. And yeah, I don't know.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. And I wanted to tie in actually your point about blessing, and going back to Anna Karina, you had talked about how this was your first experience, in a pilgrimage, and it was mine as well. You said that you didn't have any expectations going into this, and I also didn't have any expectations. Of course, you have ideas as to some of the things you want to see, but I didn't really have anything that I was truly expecting, other than when I got there, I just asked God, continue to pour out the graces upon the pilgrims. Just continue. And every day, my prayer remained the same. Like, that was absolutely amazing, God. I just ask you to keep pouring out your graces upon the pilgrims. And he did. Each and every day he managed to, I don't know if I want to use the word outdo himself, but for lack of better words, he outdid himself again and again and again. And so there were so many great blessings. And I think that one of the things that I realized with these blessings is these blessings have to be unpacked in the moment, but also at home. And that's one of the things you can't get without a pilgrimage. Sometimes God needs to take you out of your everyday to teach you something that you wouldn't have been able to learn at home. For me personally, it was my relationship to my work and rest. And he did it in such a way where I would get the message. But he did it in a way where I had to understand it outside of my own reality, outside of my everyday, in order to bring it back home and apply it here. So I found particularly useful being on a pilgrimage for the first time with a bunch of people who I'm blessed to say that I had the opportunity to be among in order to experience that and to truly live it out.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. I wanted to hand this off to Chris.
Well, really, I want to bring up all the pilgrims.
All of us anyways.
Bring up all the pilgrims from, oh my gosh. You made me roll my eyes so hard just now.
My eyes.
Well, was that me? Oh, no. We're not done talking. Be seated. Or, yeah, stand. That's, no. Be seated. It's fine. I just want to make a final closing. You make me feel scared. I don't know why you're standing. Yeah, I was just going to say, we're going to do like maybe a little Q&A.
You're good then.
I'm going to move out of the way. I just want to say my final words.
No, you're good.
Watch out for your Coca-Cola. I just wanted to share like my highlight of the trip. So on day one, when we got there, I gave a little talk about pilgrimage because I've been on many pilgrimages, and this was the first one that we kind of like really like hosted fully as a Newman Center. 2 years ago we went to World Youth Day. Last year we went to the National Eucharistic Congress. This is the first like big pilgrimage out of the country that we hosted. When we went to Portugal, we went with some sisters. Last year Father Nicholas really ran the NEC trip with the other leadership team, but this was the first one that I felt like I was a part of planning, so it was kind of crazy. But on the first day I gave a little talk on Teresa of Avila's way of perfection, which she talks to her religious sisters about, and I gave a really quick four-part talk that I also gave at the Hearts on Fire event that Father Pablo did, and she's talking about her religious community, but I felt like we needed to as a pilgrimage team. She said, all will be friends, all will be loved, all will be held dear, and all will be helped. And I gave, kind of some theological background on each of those, and I said, this is what we're living. Like, this is not a vacation. This is a pilgrimage, and we are as a group, and we will act like a group. And it was really important, I think, that I gave that talk, because I've been on some pretty bad pilgrimages before. So I just wanted to lay the foundation of what that meant and what it meant to be on pilgrimage, especially in this year of hope. And like some of us are like suffering things and like are trying to really grasp onto like what it means to hope in a time like this. And at the end of the trip, towards the end of the trip, when we went to Tor Vergata, I was like telling them like the worst case scenarios, which I have experienced in Portugal, and I was like saying this is what it might be like. Trains might stop, buses might end. We might have to walk for 7 hours, and we left at like 5 p.m. and I was so nervous that we'd be walking till midnight or something. And it ended up being like just the smoothest thing ever. We did have we had the hills of Assisi, which are a sight to behold, but we also had this like random hill in Tor Vergata, and it was like like a steep hill, more like we probably shouldn't have been walking there. Maybe that shouldn't have been the path. And like all the walking was like crazy. Like some of us are like 6 foot. Some of us have asthma, so there were like frontline people regularly and backline people regularly. And at the end, when we were going down this like incredibly steep hill, like basically your feet is like pointing down to the floor. Like that's how steep this little hill was. It wasn't a big hill. Again, probably should have just like found a different way, but we went down this hill. We were pretty adamant. It was pretty late. All the other seats were taken. All the spots were taken. So I went in the front and I was like trying to get down this hill. And then I turned around and I looked back at the rest of the group. And in my head, I just titled that image in my head, "All will be helped." And they were like kind of at a diagonal, and they were like all holding hands, and they were like frontline people were holding backline people, and we were all just kind of like inching down the hill like this, like holding hands in a diagonal. And I thought in my head like, oh, they get it, like all will be helped. And they did. They helped each other. We helped each other, and it was a beautiful pilgrimage. It was a beautiful group. We do this, we try to go on a trip every year. Next year we're trying to go on a mission trip, hopefully domestic, that's what I'm hoping, here in the US. And the year after that we're trying to go to Korea. So if you're interested in these things, if you come talk to us after. We have like maybe 5 minutes to do like Q&A if anyone has any questions for any of the pilgrims. But thank you for coming. If you gotta go, if you wanna grab a cookie on the way out, feel free. But if you have a question for our people, you may ask them now. Got a question? Go ahead, Alfredo. Into the live stream.
So, as per your experience of the pilgrimage, how would you say you could implement that in your day-to-day? Because as it was mentioned earlier, our path is to heaven. So how will you incorporate what you learn on your everyday life?
Who wants to answer?
I'll start. I'll say I think that in Assisi is where I felt the most at peace, and I was like, I can understand how so many saints are from this place, because you just feel that great sense of peace and like prayer, and even with like the hills and stuff, it's like that sense of like there's a struggle, but there's always like something so amazing at the end of it. And so I think that, you know, in our everyday lives, I like want to take more time, because it's like so busy. You know, when you have such a busy social life, you're like always working, and it's always like, it's that taking that time to go on walks and just to be at one, like, and walks without like anything in your ears, just to listen to the birds, just like in Assisi, and just like to pray and to like thank God for like, because whenever we travel, we're like, oh, this is so beautiful, I wish things were like that at home. And you're like, no, actually there's a lot of beautiful things in here, especially like in Pasadena. And it's like, just, I think that when you're traveling, you have those goggles on where everything is like new and exciting and beautiful, and it's like taking that back home and like recognizing like God's glory all around you, and just like, yeah, so that's what I want to continue to take back. Anyone else?
Nice.
Okay, I know Christopher mentioned before about like seeing the differences between life in traveling and life coming home. Basically, I think for me, it's in pilgrimage, especially like this trip, it was nice to have sacrifices, to see the sacrifices and be sacrificing with others. And coming home, comparing that to what sacrifice looks like at home is different. And I think with that, it teaches me where to see the sacrifices, but to also give them up as well in that. So I think that's a good way of like recognizing where I do have to sacrifice like my traffic journey to work, and how can I use that to help better the kingdom in some way, like prayer intentions or things like that. So I feel like it's helped me see more clearly what I do have to deal with at home, but basically, but also I can also be part of the bigger church and like the community. So that was very helpful, very grateful for that. Anybody else?
Yeah, for myself. So in the totality of my own pilgrimage, along with Rome, I visited 13 countries this past summer in the last 2 months, and it's been beautiful to come back home. I just feel like I'm in another place, and taking all that I experienced going through Southeast Asia and Europe, it helped me to show that the church is bigger than me, and I say that my own experience, my own thoughts, maybe my own selfishness is the church is more important than that, and to see the people of God in different cultures and in different experiences, and that was very powerful for me during my own pilgrimage, and to meet up in Rome with other pilgrims to share their joy and their life, and them bringing it back home to their loved ones is very beautiful, and also that to take the pilgrimage and bring it to those back home too. I'm not much of a big picture person. I stole all these people's pictures. I didn't really take pictures, but the beautiful thing is taking pictures and was more so of a thing for me to share with those who helped me get on my pilgrimage, because they deserve to see what I'm experiencing because they helped me. So I think that was a beautiful reality check for myself, that the pilgrimage wasn't just for myself. It was actually for those who actually helped me to get there and were praying for me. So it was bigger than myself, right? And it's the church, right? And to share that with the loved ones who supported me financially and also in the spiritual realm. So I think that was a beautiful thing to bring back home bring back home to those here who helped me so much. So that's how I kind of brought it back home now.
One more. Abby, are you sure you don't want to? Okay. I'll take it. Thank you.
It's been a real honor, to be honest, to experience a pilgrimage with you guys. And
I think what we can bring back is that sense of that universal church, but also the one Christ, right? The one Christ. It was a joke. So yeah, Emily had the Jesus you saw up there, and then another little Jesus on her bag, and he started giving us this letter where we ought to believe in one Christ, not two Christ. Anyways, but we bring that Christ with us here, and it's the Christ that each one of us carries. I know you guys are studying, you're living your lives, your jobs, but it's Christ who's there with you. He wants that to be shared. And I know, at least with this one expectation that I had going in, I want to see God working in everybody, and I did. I did very much so, and I see Him working still in this group, and a lot of you guys too. And I know He's going to continue to do so. What does Paul say? Be imitators of me as I am of Christ, right? And I think together we can build that church. And it starts small. It starts in a domestic church, in small family lives, in our beautiful community here at the Newman Center, and our respected communities at home. Let's build that, right? So I want to thank all of you. Thank you all for enduring our blabber for like an hour. But thank you so much.
Who wants to see pictures?
Picture and with a prayer. You want to go?
I just wanted to say something really quick.
One little thing?
Sorry, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that supported us in prayer and also at the events we did for fundraising. Thank you so much for supporting our group and the Newman Center. And if it weren't for people's prayers or support at these things, it would have made it more difficult. And so it's a privilege and an honor to be able to receive that from you.